it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today we're going to be making a Christmas card using these fabulous Sue Wilson dies and also the Creative Expressions as used by Sue Wilson cardstock. So we've got here milk, scarlet and rich green in the cardstock, and in the dies we have the Austrian collection corner border and tag. I know that sounds kind of weird for the using for a Christmas card, but you can pick a mix with these, and you might be, for example, I'm not, but it might be that I'm just wanting to use the oval or something like that. So you know, you don't just think, oh, because it's not a Christmas die that you can't use it. It's basically where I was trying to go with that. And then I've got this fabulous Festive collection Christmas tree greetings, and this is a single die, and this is going to be the centerpiece of our card. Then I have got the Festive collection holly sprays, and I think that's just gorgeous, lovely little accent, or quite a large accent really, but it's very nice. And then again from the Festive collection, Peking Snowflake, and that has 4 dies in it, and we've used this one before. You will have hopefully seen that on my previous Sue Wilson card, and it came out gorgeous, but we're actually not using the sort of center of the die here. We really are just only using the oval on that one. Okay, so what I've done so far is all I've just, so that we sort of have got some things that you don't need to see kind of thing, is prepped. I've pre-made one of my easy peasy card bases, and this is 7 inches by 7 inches, and I made that in the scarlet. Now if you don't know about my easy peasy card bases, what I'll do is put the video for it in the corresponding blog post that will go with this video. And if you're on YouTube, do you want to get to the blog post, just click the link that's down below. And then I have cut out a piece of the I can think which one it was, milk, and that is 6 7/8 square, and then a second piece of the scarlet in 6 3/4 square, and they're going to mat and layer up, although we're not quite finished with that last layer yet. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so before we do any actual die cutting, I want to first of all emboss that red layer that I had pre-cut. This one is the one that was 6 3/4 square, and I'm going to be using one of the pinpoint embossing folders by Sue Wilson, and this one is called Row of Bows. Okay, so I've got my grand caliber, and we're going to start with my base plate. Then we're going to take my embossing folder, and we're going to pop inside of that the card, and I'm just going to try and line it up so that the position of the rows with the bows are even. So like here's 2, so those 2 are roughly the same gap away from the edge of my card, so I can just pop that like that, and I know that it's going to look roughly even. See, there's a tiny bit of bow there and a tiny bit of bow onto my card, so the position of that one is down the center. I know that's probably ultra fussy, but I think it's details like that, I've said it before, that really make your card just go up a level really. If that was sort of over on the edge like a whole bow, and then there was just a whole group of dots before you got to a bow and it's sort of off center, I just think personally that just looks a little bit untidy. Okay, so then we put our raspberry adapter plate on. Now it does say if you find it too tight that you can change this base plate to the pale pink plate, that embossing plate that comes with your grand caliber. It just depends on the cardstock. I haven't tried it with this cardstock, so I don't know. Okay, so that's come out really nicely. Look at that. Hopefully you can just catch that. There we go. Isn't that lovely? And then you've even got the deboss side as well, which looks really cool. But anyway, so that's our piece there done. So the first layer is our milk that's going on top of the scarlet cardstock here. And I'm just using my Cosmic Shimmer, you know that's my favourite flat glue. And I want to have it as a top folding card, so I'm just checking that that's the right way out. Actually, I'm putting down a square. It doesn't actually matter at this point, it's plain. It's when I put the bows on that it's going to matter. There we go. So that's just got a nice little border. And then for this layer, what I wanted to do was just 3D it. So I'm going to get some foam tape. I don't need it to go up massively. And then I like to put just a tiny bit of the Cosmic Shimmer onto the tape. This just makes it a really good adhesion to the card. Okay, so then we are just checking the direction on that so that we make sure we put this up the right way. And it's got obviously a left and a right, but also an up and a down, so. And the other advantage is that you get a little bit of wriggle room just to move that into position, like so. And then it's just a little bit of lift, but I think that just gives it a nice, just a bit of added dimension. So that's that one done. So now we're going to put that layer to one side and we're going to start our die cutting. Okay, so we're going to start by cutting out the oval here, and it's the large oval, and it also has some little pinpricks here, so we may emboss that because I'm not sure if that comes when we cut or whether it comes only when we emboss, so we'll have a little see. Okay, so we're going to take our A plate. Actually, I'm going to do it in reverse. I'm going to take my C plate, cutting plate, my piece of card, just going to fit, so we're going to take a little bit of tape and just catch that down. I want to do it on the side, onto the card itself and not onto the mat here, so that I've got an opportunity to pick it up if I want. And then we're putting the base plate on top. I mean, you could swip it over, but it's just then I can see what I'm doing when I'm putting the tape down and everything. But basically what you want to make sure is that the cutting side of your die goes into the cutting mat, but otherwise it doesn't really matter which way up it is. So look, the little dots actually are cuts, so that looks really cute. I'm pleased with that, so I don't need to emboss that one. I'm happy with that just as it is. So let's just take this tape off very carefully. Those bits are just a little sticky still. There we go. And there's our oval, so pop that to one side. Okay, so next we've got our Festive holly sprays, and I've got that lovely green. So again, I'm starting with my cutting plate on the base, as it were, and then I'm putting down my holly spray and my second holly sprays. I'm going to try and pop those in nice and tight together so that if we want to, we've got space to add some more. And then I'm going to add on my base plate and then just pop that through the machine. So then I'm just flipping it over, because then that way, hopefully, it's just gone into the cutting mat a bit, there we go. That way when we flip it over, we can just see whether it's cut through or not. And there's just a little bit there that it needs to go once more. And this is a machine issue, not a dye issue, and it is one of the reasons that I am upgrading to the platinum, which is supposed to be a good thing. You know, they've improved upon the things that are problematic with this machine, so we shall see. Okay, and that's cut through now beautifully. You can just see how that's all cut through. Okay, so now I'm going to emboss this one. So it's on my base plate, then we've got my card, then we're going to take my tan mat. I'm actually just going to wriggle that round to the centre. So then my tan mat, and then my pale pink embossing plate, which is this one here. Let me just pop that on top and then run that through the machine. So when you first get your tan mat, you either put down on it your anti-static powder that you get with your heat embossing, or what I did was just a bit of baby talc powder and just put it over, because what happens is it's really static and you find it almost like suctions on to the mat below. It's really funny the way it behaves, and we can see that it's just pushed through those little embossing holes. So now let's just pull off this tape. Okay, so then all I do literally is I take my machine and I give this a bit of a whack, and then look, you can see it's pulled away. So then we can just lightly get the rest and pull it out, and there is our beautiful holly leaf. What I'm hoping you can see there is the embossing. Isn't that great? So it just adds that extra little feature to your holly. I mean, it's even in the centre of the little berries, so you'll probably see that more when you look at the photos, which if you go to my blog post that corresponds with this video, you'll see lots of photos. I always take lots. So the next one we're doing is Austrian die, and this is the corner, border and tag, and we're literally just going to do the corner. Well, I say that, but I might actually do the tag as well, because we've got a red on the inside and it might just add a nice place to put a sentiment. So we'll have a think. We'll see how we go with the corners first. Okay, so we're going to need to do 4 of these, obviously, so we're just going to stick that down, but each time we're going to have to emboss it individually. So obviously, because we can't sort of take them out, put it back and emboss them, so we're going to pop that down, we're going to cut it, and then we're going to emboss it and pop it through the machine. I'll just twist that through because it's up the other end. So just run it through a couple of times, and I believe with the platinum this will be a thing of the past on the whole. There might be something like maybe that festive background that would need to go through a couple of times, but I'm hoping it won't need to do this actually, because 4 times each for every one would be really annoying. Right, and then just going to flip that over. Oh yeah, that's gone through fine, so we probably could do that, only need to do that a couple of times and that will be fine. Okay, so then we're going to take our tan embossing mat. So it's our base plate, tan embossing die, cut side up, then our tan embossing mat, and then our pink embossing plate, and then we'll just pop that through the machine. Trying not to knock everything over in the process. Now ideally you wouldn't be doing this on top of another mat, you would be having the machine attaching to your table so that you wouldn't have it moving around as much as I am. So then just carefully remove those. And again, carefully removing the tape, because we definitely don't want to damage the cardstock here, because I'd like to try and get it all done into the one piece, so that the scrap sort of from what we use for the card is all it takes, so we only use one sheet rather than breaking into another sheet just for a corner. Okay, and hoping you can just, there we go, you just catch that embossing. Isn't that gorgeous? And just adds that extra bit of detail. So I'll do 3 more of these and then I will come back to you. Okay, so that's all 4 done. I don't think you can catch the embossing unless I turn it, and if I turn it they'll all slide off, but anyway, don't they look pretty? So now I'm going to take this die here. I'm not going to take the centerpiece because that's going to cut it out. That's an oval with a cutting edge, so we're only going to take the outer piece because I want all the ornate edges, which has got its own cutting edge, and a solid centre. So that's what we're going to use there, and I'm going to pop that onto the inside of my card. So I think that will look good in it. Then we won't have to worry about putting anything there for somebody to write on, because this will work just beautifully, I think. And then you can just see there the embossing on that line all the way around there, and also there's some little extra sort of dots and things, which is really nice. So it's just a little extra detail you get from the embossing. And I have to say, I've forgotten with Sue's, on the last couple that I've done of Sue Wilson's, using Sue Wilson's dies, I've forgotten to do the embossing, and she's got some really nice embossing on these, and I just had completely forgotten. And obviously the last thing is just try and get your little bits out before you put it away. Okay, so that is that, and then there's just one more piece to cut. Okay, so the last thing I want to cut is the main feature, which is our Festive Collection Christmas Tree Greetings die. And we've got my cutting plate, a piece of red cardstock. I'm going to pop that like that way round, so that will fit, and so that's up in that corner nicely, so that should help the cutting process. And then we're just going to get some tape, in theory. There we go. And then finally my base plate, and then through the machine, and then just flip it over, because I can then check if it's cut. Okay, so you can just have a look here, you can see that it's nicely cut all around here, but in the centre up the top here you can see it hasn't quite gone through. It's nearly there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist it around just so that that's closer to the corner, and it's just rotating it, and it will then just help with the cutting process. Now you can see the difference. You can see it's all beautifully dark all the way across, and basically that dark part that you can see is actually the dye coming through the cardstock. It's like that edge. And then I'm going to emboss it, so I'm going to just grab that, or not, because it doesn't want to move. There we go. I'm just going to move it round to the centre a little bit up there, because I find with the embossing mat, because it can move a bit with the pressure, you don't want your die right at the edge, because then you don't always get the embossing. So then we pop that through. Okay, and then again just making sure those little pieces are off my tan mat. And that is all done, so let's just turn it over and peel off the tape. Watch that, it's sharp, I just discovered. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? And can you see the embossing on that one as well? That really emphasizes the words. Each letter is kind of really showing up there now. It sort of has a real kind of, what is it, the kind of gold engraving, the stone engraving, it really has that effect, so it's really cool. Okay, so that's that all done. So now I can just get rid of this bit and I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, so here's all our pieces cut. So I think that's come out really nicely. I like the way that's working. So the first thing I want to do is just take this piece here. I've got a piece of paper here so I can use that for gluing, but I want to take this piece here and I just want to pop that into the center here. So I just grab some of my Cosmic Shimmer glue and just pop it in the center and then a little bit on these edges, and then just stick that down into the center like so. So that looks good. Okay, so that's that piece. I'm just going to pop that over for a minute because the next thing I want to do is just take my oval and my tree and pop one on top of the other, so we need to make sure that it's central. Okay, so that's that piece done and I think that looks really nice. So pop that to one side and then we want to start constructing the card. So we've got our 4 corners to go down first, so let's just grab those. I'm going to actually add the glue to this piece of paper down here because I think that'll be easier. So I'm just spreading the adhesive out. Got a fly there that likes the glue. And then just popping that on the back of that corner and putting that corner in the corner. There we go, one down. So we're just wiping that very carefully. You don't want to really, when it's first put the glue down, if you shove it in too hard, it'll sort of squelch through and you don't really want that because that's not good. You don't want it on the wrong side. That's the whole point of putting it down there. Because there's no way you're going to try and put some glue on all of these pieces, each little element like that. It's just not going to happen, is it? Okay. So then this is going to come into the centre, like so. And we're going to use, on that, my 3D glue gel here. My favourite product, as you know. I just want to make sure that it's going to stay nice and flat. You know, even though it's 3D'd, I want it to be nice and flat once it comes through the post, so that's why I put a lot on. You don't have to go as mad as me if you don't want to, but I like it to look good when it reaches the other end. So when the recipient gets it, it still looks fabulous. Hopefully it looks fabulous before it leaves me, obviously. So then we're just going to pop that down like so. And that also gives us quite a nice bit of height on there as well. So then I'm going to take my holly here, sort of like that, and then maybe a bow, I think, just where that holly is coming. So let's pop the holly down first and then we can work from there. So again, this is getting very empty, this bottle. Okay, we're just going to put some adhesive down on my piece of paper. Now the other side of this was pretty messy, so that's why I'm using this one up. Okay. Just a bit more. Okay. And so that one's going to be kind of here. So this one we want kind of there. And this will dry clear, so don't worry too much about these little bits of white that are showing on there, that will all disappear. Okay, and then that end. And actually I seem to have missed these pieces completely for some reason, so let's just pop that down. There we go. And I just want to pull that up a little bit. I stuck my arm in that piece of paper. That was fun. Okay, so that's, and you can see that's already going clear where that white glue was. So that's our holly done there. So now all I want is some ribbon and a nice bow just along here, I think. Maybe with a dazzler in it. I think that would look very pretty. Okay. Okay, so I used a bow maker to make my bow, and I want it to sit with these coming out side to side. So I'm just going to cut a little point, and that one was just a little bit too, like that. And then what I want to do, just to hold it in position, I'm just going to take and fold that little bit back, take my glue tape pen thing, and then just pop a bit of adhesive there and then stick that onto the bow. There we go. So that just sticks that out where I need it to be rather than where I don't want it to be. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. So there's my bow, and now you can see the card, all the glue has dried nicely, and the bow is going to cover up that join point that we had there, and it's going to sit just in position like that. And I think that's going to look really, just gives it a really nice kind of luxurious feel. So in order to stick it down, we're going to use my 3D glue gel, and I'm going to put a small amount on each side and then a bigger bit in theory in the middle, but it just wanted to stick to me then. Okay, and then we're just going to pop that down in position like so. Just want to uncover that word Christmas, so let's pull that through a little bit, and that should, there we go. And then just to finish it off, I want to take one of these little dazzlers, I love these, and just pop one into the centre there, and I think that brings in that white that we've got as well. I had some adhesive on the side there, so I'm just using that. There we go. Just making sure that's all cut out from not on the edges, and then just pop that in. Now to start with, your pin flare won't feel like it's really stuck down or holding it, but it really will. As soon as it's dry, it will be like rock solid, so you won't have anything to worry about. And then the only other thing I want to do is put some crystals in the corners of our four sort of die cut corners there. So I'm just going to take my Cosmic Shimmer glue and put a tiny dot onto each corner. Just so that we know that each crystal will stick down and stay stuck down. So we're just popping that in the corner like that, and then okay, so that's your 4 little corners done, and then there's just one more to do, and that is in the centre of our star. And for that one I'm going to use a bigger crystal. There we go. That look nice. That just finishes it off. Okay, so that is our card all finished. I think it looks really, really effective. I hope you do too. And I just added a border on the bottom here because it looked a little bit bare when you look at the front, and then you go in and it was like, oh, okay, not a lot on there. So I just added the border. That was from this Austrian collection, and I think that is such a pretty border, and I think it goes really nicely with this, and it's surprising really how you can mix and match. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed making this card with me. I hope you like the finished result. I'd love to hear what you think. Do go across to the corresponding blog post if you're not there already, because you'll see lots of information, that extra video that I spoke about, plus most importantly, I'm sure, loads and loads of photos where you'll get close-ups, so you'll get to see all that embossing and the lovely, not just the embossing of the embossing folder, but the embossing that we did onto the die cuts and everything. So there'll be lots of close-ups there for you. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon. Bye!